I think there's one other part of all of this that we haven't really talked about, which is the romance of this play. And you mentioned at the beginning these two lonely singles meeting. They connect in these different ways, but there's something quite romantic about the play generally. Can you talk about that quality of it?
That's so interesting. I don't know that I've framed it that way in my mind, but the play is about beauty. The play is about people who want more beauty in their lives. There are three characters in the play who are waiters at this restaurant, and for them the restaurant isn't just a workplace, it's also a place where they go to create beauty for other people and to find it for themselves. There is a space in the restaurant that's kind of like this underground wine cellar that is stunningly beautiful for the waiters who work there. And it makes the experience of their workplace kind of a transcendent one. So I think the play is partially about how we create and find more beauty and romance in a kind of broad aspect in our lives. And then, of course, at the heart of it, or the people who begin the play are this man and this woman who meet at a coffee shop and sort of have a tentative, exploratory, romantic or emotional connection that develops over the course of the play. So I guess in that sense it's also romantic.
Yeah. And you mentioned waiters who work at the restaurant. There's one character whose character name is Waiter.
Yes.
He's very important in this play.
Yes.
Can you talk about that character a little bit?
Yeah, the waiter is a person who I think doesn't have much life, friends, or social connections outside of his workplace, which is the restaurant. So when he finds the restaurant...
I relate.
Yeah, I know. It's like anyone who works in the theater can
Unfortunately.
Relate. Yeah. So when he finds the restaurant and he finds this identity as a waiter and the clothing that he wears, the routine of it, showing up at the same time every day, building his expertise and his skill set, his physical grace, his knowledge as a waiter, it's so kind of life-affirming for him to have this identity in the restaurant. And he loves it. He loves being a waiter. In the play, the act of being a waiter, of serving people, is actually a very powerful role. It's not a subservient role. It's like you are creating an environment for other people and you're giving them the gift of your service, basically. So the service workers in the play they're very powerful, more powerful than the people who come to eat at the restaurant. And that for him is very wonderful. And then as the play develops, we see the threat that he's going to lose this space that gives him his whole identity, and that's very scary to him.
Can you talk about the rehearsal process, how it's going with Morgan, and how you're thinking about, or maybe not thinking about, rewriting?
The rehearsal process has been great. It's always a whirlwind. Like I try to buy all my groceries in advance, and it's just it's hard to do anything else because it's sort of life consuming, like working at the restaurant in the play. I think the play to me right now I've been working on it for a long time. I don't know that there are a ton of rewrites I'll make until the audience comes in, and then we'll see. Because that always is a huge blast of new information that who knows what that will require of me. But I love making plays in intimate spaces, and I think this theater is an intimate space. And so finding this kind of like expansive physical life for the play, and also we have some characters in the play who are very heightened, like really theatrical, and figuring out how to do that in an intimate space, like matching the size of the performances to the size of the space, is really interesting to figure out. And I think that's what we're figuring out right now. Like, is this a full Robert Wilson like thing, or is this, what is it in the space especially?
And you guys are on your feet already, right?
Oh yeah, we're blocking the play, and we're halfway through figuring out a shape of it. And
I feel like there wasn't a ton of table work. It kind of was quick to being up.
Yeah, we didn't do a ton of table work. There's a lot, the big questions about the play, I think, are about how it moves and what the shape of it is, and then we'll find the other stuff as we go.
Right, and you don't want it to get too static or heavy, I feel like sometimes when a play is really funny, if you labor too long on moments in it, the play loses its humor because the actors they stop realizing how funny the original joke was, and they'll layer a joke on top of the joke.
Yeah.
And then the original joke isn't funny anymore, but it was
Yeah.
so pure.
That's the incredibly difficult thing about live theater, is that alchemy. And the alchemy of when you start previews and where are you in the play, where are you in the actors, process of the actors finding the play. It's a very delicate thing.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite part of a process? It can be you alone in your apartment writing the play at 2 a.m. It can be opening night party, or it can be anything in between.
There's a moment in rehearsal, usually around week 2 or week 3, where I leave for a while.
Nice.
And go see a movie or something. But I like that because it's like really, you have to give up control. And there are all these wonderful, smart collaborators in the room. And I think Morgan has my confidence. And so knowing that other people are going to take this thing and make it is wonderful. And then I think there is a moment when you start showing it to audiences where inevitably, at first, sorry, Playwrights Horizons, you're like, this is horrible. This is a disaster. This is truly bringing shame upon my family. And then usually there's a moment where things click in and you get the first laugh, or you have a performance where things kind of pull together in some way. And that's always such a rush of knowing, oh, actually, we're going to make it. We're going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make something that people want to see.
Definitely.
So that moment is always such a relief, and it happens every show, and there's always deep despair beforehand, and then like relief.
The space we're sitting in right now is we call it the crying lobby, because it's where playwrights go to cry.
Yeah.
During their first preview, second
good.
preview, third
Good.
preview, and so on. But I think that's right. It's
serving the.
Yeah, we're just getting the space ready for when we need to cry in here. But I think that it's just such a vulnerable thing. I mean, you're sharing something that is so deeply personal.
Yeah.
And comes from really deep within you. And it's one thing to share that with your intimate rehearsal space, and then it's another to really let go of that for an audience. And there is so much strength and freedom in that for you. And joy in it. I mean, it's really scary, but the two points you talked about are points of letting go, of giving the space to the team in the room, and then giving it to the audience in the theater.
Writing a play and having it done is a constant process of letting it go. I mean, to write this play, I had to let go of an idea of writing a good play, or a play that would be produced at like Playwrights Horizons, and just be like, I'm going to do something that is interesting and beautiful to me. And that is hard. It's hard to let go in that way, even at the very beginning. But so it's sort of continual training in just saying,
yeah, here's my heart.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, and that's hard.
Yeah, really hard.
Yeah.
Why did you want us to produce it?
I mean, come on. This is
What's so great about us?
Every playwright wants to work at Playwrights Horizons. So having the opportunity to be here, period, is an honor and a dream. I think for two reasons: because the theater is so artistically supportive and embraces the question of the play, and embraces artists being in process and maybe not having all the answers yet, but figuring things out as they go. I think the whole staff here creates that feeling of support for a writer and for artists, and that just allows you to do work beyond what you thought was possible. And then, Playwrights Horizons audiences, the work that gets done here, I could name any play done here in the past 20, 30 years. People are used to seeing work that surprises and challenges them. And that when I had this play, a first draft of this play, I just thought, well, this is the best case scenario if it were to end up at a place like Playwrights Horizons for this play. So yeah, this is my best case scenario for this play.
Same.
I'm so happy.
Best case scenario for our season.
Yeah.
Well, Abe, thank you so much for having this conversation. It's been a pleasure. I know you have to get upstairs.
Back to work.
Back to work.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Well, it was my pleasure. Thank you, Lizzie.
Thank you.